Okay, this is the notes on the angle addition postulate. So the angle addition postulate says if D is on the interior of angle ABC, then the measure of angle ABD plus the measure of angle DBC is going to equal the measure of angle ABC. So the one thing to note here is I use the less than sign as my angle symbol. The angle symbol is really a slanted line and then a flat line, rather than the less than symbol, which looks more like this. But it's not easy to type out an angle symbol, so that's why I did it there. Okay, so that's these are really supposed to be angle symbols, which should be slanted and then flat, not both slanted. Okay, but when I draw out my angle ABC, A, and then B, and then C, we want to put a point D that's on the interior somewhere, so I'm going to put a point D right here. That means angle ABD, so let's just say hypothetically it was 20. 20. I really need to get a mouse still, or a pad. Okay, 20 plus DBC, let's say it was 30 degrees. 30 degrees. That would add up to the whole thing, which is angle ABC, which in this case would be 50. Okay, so that's all the angle addition postulate is saying, is when we have two angles that are right next to each other, we can add them together to get the big angle. That's essentially the angle addition postulate. Let's look at some examples. I got 5 examples and 5 problems we can work on. So the first one here, I have angle CDA, which we know is 69 degrees. So 69 degrees. Okay, then we have angle ADE, which we don't know. And then we have angle CDE, which is the big one. All the way CDE is 117 degrees. Right, and so that's what we have to work with. We're looking for the measure of angle ADE. So we need to start by writing an equation. Okay, so my equation is going to be the measure of angle CDA, the first small angle, plus the measure of angle ADE, the second small angle, equals the measure of the big angle, which is angle CDE. Right, so there's my equation. The first one plus the second small one adds up to the big one, CDE. Now I can substitute in. CDA is 69 degrees. Plus, we don't know this one, measure of angle ADE. I'm just going to put X. Okay, equals measure of angle CDE, which is 117 degrees. Okay, the one thing we forgot to do is we forgot to justify our equation. So this equation is coming from the angle addition postulate. That's where our equation is coming from. All right. And then we subtract 69 on both sides and we'll get our answer. Minus 69, minus 69. And that should give me X equals, that's going to be 48 degrees. Okay, so our final answer, measure of angle ADE is 48 degrees. Measure angle ADE equals 48 degrees. All right, and then number 1 here, same thing. So we want to write out our equation. We have the measure of angle TUH plus the measure of angle HUV equals the big angle, the measure of angle TUV. Where this is coming from is the segment addition postulate. So I have to angle addition postulate. We have to justify our equation. That's where it's coming from. The two small angles are going to add up to the big one. Okay, if I fill in my diagram, angle HUV is 85 degrees. TUV, that's the big one, is 127. And then we're looking for TUH. So that's going to be X plus 85 equals 127. I subtract 85 on both sides. and we get x equals 42. So the measure of angle TUH is going to be 42 degrees. All right. B is just the same, except we have expressions instead of numbers. So let's clear annotations and objects. We'll scroll down and let's do the next one. So let's see here. Let me pull up. Let's fill in our diagram first. So angle QRS, that's the big one. The whole thing is going to be -1 plus 58x. Okay, QRB, that's this one, is 71. And then BRS here is 22x. All right, so then we can write our equation. So it's going to be the two small angles. So we have measure of angle SRB plus the other small one is angle BRQ. So measure of angle BRQ. Those are going to add together to give me the measure of angle SRQ, the big angle. Okay, we need to justify our equation. It is the angle addition postulate. Okay, and now we can substitute in. So for angle SRB, we have 22x. Plus, for measure of angle BRQ, we have 71. Equals the whole thing, which is the measure of angle SRQ or QRS. Remember, you can name it SRQ or QRS. That's the same thing. So -1 plus 58x. All right, we can't combine like terms on either side, so we're going to start off by subtracting 22x on both sides. So I get 71 equals -1 plus, this would be 36x. I'm going to add 1 to both sides. So I have 72 equals 36x. I divide by 36 on both sides. And I get x equals 2. Okay, that's my answer. If I want to check my answer, I can substitute it in. Right, so I have 22x. So 22 times 2 is 44. And then I have -1 plus 58 times 2. That's going to be 116 minus 1 is 115. Yep. Okay. And then if we're looking at this, we would have 44 plus 71, which would be 115. So we know our answer is good. 44 plus 71 adds up to 115. All right, number 2, you're doing the same thing here, right? Let's fill our diagram in first. So again, measure of angle LMG is 73. Measure of angle GMN is 13x plus 5. And then the whole thing, LMN, is 29x minus 2. So we want to start by writing our equation out. We have the measure of angle NMG plus the measure of angle GML equals the whole thing, which is the measure of angle NML. So we have the first two small ones plus added together, give us the big one. Okay, we're going to substitute in. NMG is 13x plus 5. Right, same as GMN, right? Doesn't matter if it's called angle GMN or angle NMG. Plus the measure of angle GML is 73 equals the whole thing, which is 29x minus 2. We need to combine like terms first, so I'm going to have 13x plus 78. Once I combine like terms, I can now start adding or subtracting from both sides. So I'm going to subtract 13x on both sides. That's going to give me 78 equals 16x minus 2. I'm going to add 2 to both sides. That's 80 equals 16x. Divide by 16. And I believe that should give me x equals 5. All right, if I want to check my work, I'm going to substitute it in. 13 times 5 plus 5. Let's see, that's going to be 26. 52 plus 13 is going to be 65 plus 5. That's going to be 70. And then 29 times 5 minus 2. So 30 times 5 is going to be 150. So this is going to be 145 minus 2 is going to be 143. So then we can look at this. 70 plus 73. Does that add up to 143? Is this statement true? Yes, it is. So we know x equals 5 was a good answer. All right, let's clear annotations. Okay, we're going to scroll down here to number 3 and 4. Okay, this one's very similar. Very, very similar. So let's look at our equation here. Let's fill in first. Angle RSN is going to be 14x plus 12. NST here is going to be 7x plus 1. And then RST, the whole thing, it's going to be 160 degrees. All right, we can write out our equation. So we're going to have the measure of angle RSN plus the measure of angle NST equals the measure of the whole thing, which is RST. We need to justify our equation. So we might have forgot to justify our equations up there, but our justification should be the angle addition postulate. Okay, so we probably forgot to do them up for 2 and B, but we got to make sure we justify angle addition postulate. All right. Now we're going to substitute in. So RSN is 14x plus 12 plus NST is 7x plus 1 equals the measure of angle RST, which is the whole thing, which is 160. Combine like terms. So we have 21x plus 13 equals 160. I subtract 13 on both sides. I get 21x equals 147. I divide both sides by 21. And that should give me, I want to say 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 9. 7. It's going to be 7. 20 times 7 is 140, and then 7. So x will be 7. All right, we're looking for the measure of angle RSN. So the measure of angle RSN equals 14x plus 12. So that's going to be 14 times 7 plus 12. That's going to be 98 plus 12. That's going to be 110 degrees. All right, if we want to check our answer, we can substitute into the other one as well. 7 times 7 plus 1 is going to be 50. So then we have 110 plus 50 equals the whole thing, which is 160. So we know our answer is correct. All right, 3 is just like example C. So you would do it the same way. You'd follow the same process. We're going to move on to letter D. Okay, on D, the difference is we need to draw our own diagram. So let's look at the question here. It says, suppose D is on the interior of angle ABC. So we want to draw an angle ABC. Maybe we want to draw it a little bigger. B is my vertex because it's the middle letter in the name, right? B is the vertex because it's in the middle. So angle ABC. Okay, and then D's in the middle somewhere. Doesn't matter where, as long as it's on the inside. That's all we know. So there's our diagram. All right, the measure of angle ABD is 2x minus 2. So I'm going to put 2x minus 2 in here. Measure of angle DBC is x plus 14. And then the whole thing, ABC, the big angle, is 4x minus 20. So now it's just like numbers 2 and 3. We just have to write our equation out. So I'm going to type measure angle ABD is our first small angle plus measure angle DBC is our second small angle equals the whole thing, which is the measure of angle ABC. Once we have our equation written, we need to justify it. So our justification is the angle addition postulate. So it's the two small angles added to the big one. Once we have that, we can, again, just fill in our expressions. We have 2x minus 2 plus x plus 14 equals the whole thing, angle ABC, which is 4x minus 20. Okay, from there, we need to combine like terms. So on the left side, I have 2x and another x. That's a total of 3x. I have negative 2 and plus 14. So 14 minus 2 is plus 12 equals 4x minus 20. Okay, after I've combined like terms, I can move things from one side to the other. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides to get all my x's on the right side. That leaves me with 12 equals x minus 20. I'm going to add 20 to both sides and get 32 equals x. We're trying to find the measure of angle ABC, which is the big one. So I'm going to substitute that in, measure angle ABC, which is 4x minus 20. So that's going to be 4 times 32, which is 128, minus 20, which is going to be 108 degrees. All right. So 4 is going to be very same. So let's just set it up. We don't need to go through and solve the whole thing. But actually, before we do 4, we should probably check and make sure our answers are good. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to substitute into the other ones as well. So we have 2 times 32 minus 2, which is 62. And then this one, we have 32 plus 14, which is 46. And then 46 plus 62 should add up to 108. And it does, so we know our answer is good. 46 plus 62 adds up to the whole thing, which is 108. All right, so number 4, let's set it up. We're going to draw an angle LMN. So I'm going to draw an angle. M is my vertex because it's in the middle. So it's going to be angle L, M in the middle, and then N. And it says K is on the interior. So I'm going to put K on the interior. Right? And then we can fill in our diagram. LMN is the whole thing. So the whole thing should be 100. LMK is 2x minus 18, angle LMK. And then angle NMK is 3x plus 3. So when we write our equation out, we're going to write the two small ones added together. So measure of angle LMK plus the measure of angle KMN equals the whole thing, which is the measure of angle LMN. So then our equation here, if we substitute it in, would be 2x minus 18 plus 3x plus 3 and equals the whole thing, which is 100. Okay, and then we would solve for, I guess we can do the whole thing here. We would get 5x minus 15. Okay, the one thing we didn't do is we didn't justify our equation. So we have to say angle addition postulate. Okay, and then I'm going to add 15 to both sides. 115, divide by 5, and you should get x equals 23. We're looking for the measure of angle LMK. So LMK is this one, so it's going to be 2 times 23. Two, 23 minus 18, which is going to get me 28 degrees. All right, if we substitute into the other one, right, 3 times 23 is 69 plus 3 is 7. All right, we got one more type of problem, and that is with bisectors. So the mistake here, this should not say AD, this should say BD. So that should say ray BD in the problem. All right, bisects angle A, B, and C. So I need to draw my angle ABC. So A, B's in the middle because it's the vertex. And here's C. And so ray BD is going to be right down the middle. That makes these two angles congruent. They have the same measure. So I'm going to put those little arcs there to symbolize that they're congruent. Since they're congruent, their measures are equal. So this one is 2x minus 2. This one is x plus 14. The equation I can set up is that the measure of angle ABD is going to be equal to the measure of angle DBC. So our equation is going to be 2x minus 2 equals x plus 4. We subtract x on both sides. We get x minus 2. Oh, it's 14, I'm sorry. X minus 2 equals 14. We add 2 to both sides, and we get x equals 16. We're looking for the measure of angle ABC. So we need to substitute it into at least one of them. So I'm going to do 2x minus 2. So 2 times 16 minus 2, which is going to give me 30. If this one's 30, the other one is also going to be 30. So again, this should have been x plus 14. Right, so if we are doing that properly, we have 16 plus 14 equals 30, which means the measure of angle ABC is going to equal 60 degrees, right? 30 plus 30 gives us 60 degrees. All right, next one is very similar. So again, you should have drawn an angle LMN. LMN. We have a bisector, ray MK, bisects it. Bisects the angle means it cuts it in half, 2 equal pieces. So then we have 2x plus 20. And we have 5x minus 40. Our equation is going to be that the measure of angle LMK is going to equal the measure of angle KMN, because that's what a bisector does. So we should have justified over here, right? Our justification over here should have been segment bisector. I'm sorry, angle bisector. We're not bisecting a segment, we're bisecting an angle. And then over here as well, our justification for our equation is angle bisector. All right, we can set it up now. We have 2x plus 20 equals 5x minus 40 minus 2x, subtract 2x on both sides. So we get 20 equals 3x minus 40. We add 40 to both sides. We get 60 equals 3x. And when we divide by 3, you should get 20 equals x. To find the measure of angle LMN, we're going to substitute it in. So I got 2 times 20 plus 30. I'm sorry, 2 times 20 is plus 20. That's the problem. Plus 20. That's a 2. Hard to read my handwriting here on the computer. 2 times 20 plus 20. That's 40 plus 20 is 60. And then this one we have 5 times 20 minus 40, which is going to be 60 as well. So I have 60 and 60. That should add up to 120 degrees. So the measure of angle LMN is 120 degrees. And that's it for angle addition and angle bisectors.